Okay, who missed out on Blake Snell? You're never going to believe this, but the Red Sox were in on Blake Snell. And now they're focusing on Max Fried to upgrade their rotation. Yeah, get hydrated, Trevor, because I think we should just start here. We can get to some of the other teams involved, but let's start with Boston. It's very clear cut that they're going after a left-handed starting pitcher with Snell and Kikuchi off the board. Max Fried's probably pretty pumped, and he's repped by CAA. They're probably pretty pleased as well, because after Fried, I mean, sure, you have Manaea. That looks good too, but there's going to start to be a drop-off where the Red Sox can't keep playing the same game. And let's be real, they're not getting Juan Soto. I mean, I know they're floating that out there a lot too, so that they can say they were in on him. There's no freaking way that Soto's landing there in my mind. I cannot see that under any circumstance. They would have to offer a lot more money, and I just don't think they're going to do that. So tell Red Sox fans what they should be thinking. And somebody's got to stop saying we were in on this player. Like, they need to keep it a little, I love the transparency, but they need to keep it a little more under wraps, because in my mind, it's becoming embarrassing. It's like a PR disaster at this point. This has been going on for years. I don't know if someone's floating it out from their org or if this is just the agents, who usually are the ones who say who else was giving offers, but just giving offers that aren't up to speed with what the market is getting embarrassing.
I don't. So the Red Sox have always gotten someone. And it's only in the last few years where they're just swinging and missing and just not getting to the finish line. But I don't know if viewers recall the last time I was on this show, we did predictions on who we thought was going to go to Boston. And somebody that happens to have a green background thought that Max Fried was going there. So I'm saying he's their guy. I think he profiles really well as one of their guys. I think he'd be really successful there. And he's a front end guy that will be surrounded by, in my opinion, a lot of quality 3s and 4s in Cutter Crawford and in Tanner Houck. But they got a guy who can start game one. They need him. And they got to make that happen. I think he's going to be cheaper than Snell. He should be. The problem is he's a little like it could be a little bit of a longer deal, but I think it's a no-brainer. I think they should give him whatever he wants, get him there. It's just going to come down to what he wants to do. And one other little half comment or a little thought on the Soto idea and floating that out there. The only way Soto goes there if he decides that that's where he wants to be, and he'll do what he needs to do to go there, because it'll be his team with Devers. I think I'm getting that vibe from him that he's like not wanting to go somewhere that already has a captain. He like wants to be the guy. And if that's the case, Boston's one of the best places for him to go do that. That has money that can pay him somewhere close to what he could get in a truly open market. So I'm still holding a hope. It's probably futile, but it would be really, really interesting. It would shake things up big time if he did. So, but I think Max Fried's their guy. I think that's what you got to do, and then start adding the smaller pieces from there.
Did you say a guy with a green background?
Oh.
Right. You are right. You are right. You have yours. Mine is actually Boston. It's actually Green Monster Green.
Green Monster Green.
Yours is Philly Fanatic Green. But either way, we both had Boston. Yes, I completely agree. And this might push Max Fried to the $200 million range. And I might be going out on a limb there just because he's a year younger than Blake Snell. So you just automatically add one more year. Do they believe in him as much? Or will the Red Sox miss out? To me, you got to go maybe less than what they gave David Price, but it might need to be that $200 million range. And I would be surprised if it's not. But they can't miss again. They cannot miss again, or else it will be the same old, and maybe Red Sox fans won't keep coming out because they showed it last year. They didn't quite come out the same because ownership didn't push in the way that fans thought they should. And in my opinion, the fans have given them everything, and they need to reciprocate that in this market right now and strike before other teams strike.
just puts a lot of heat on one team and one player to line up. It does. I do still think there's a world where they don't get freed either, and then they quote overpay for Mania and say, okay, look, we got our lefty starter. To me, I love Mania and what he did. I believe in what he changed midseason, but nobody can tell you that he's more of a sure thing or worth what Max Fried is and the consistency that he's brought to the table. So, last one here on Boston, and then we'll swing back and we'll talk about a couple other teams that missed out on Blake Snell that apparently sent some offers his way. If the Red Sox do get freed, is that enough? Will fans be satisfied? Should they be satisfied if that's their main move of the offseason? Yeah. I actually heard you think so? I heard one other interesting idea. It might have been on Ken's Fair Territory the other day on Grill and Ken, and I know we're going to talk to Ken soon, but I think a fan asked, well, what if they get Arenado and move Devers to first? I was like, interesting.
Okay. That's fine. They're still in the market for a closer. I just feel like Arenado and Helsley are going to bring a lot based on the fact that the Cardinals are willing to eat that money. But there was something that you said about, now I'm forgetting exactly what you said, but you were talking about how if they get him, is that enough? To me, yes. I think that's essentially enough on the trade market. I mean, on the free agency market. I still think they'd be in line for Garrett Crochet. I still think with what they have up in the big leagues and with what they have to give to the White Sox are looking for young, controllable talent. And I think the Red Sox are in line to do that. So in the free agency market, yes, fans would be happy. If they go hard after Crochet and get Crochet, now all of a sudden that is enough. That pushes them right up there with the big boys in the American League East.
And just to cap this, so it was a question about Tristan Casas being traded to Seattle for a starting pitcher and some type of deal like that. Maybe they traded a couple of their young guys and get creative that way. And then that opens up first base for Devers. So anyway, I love that stuff. Yeah, we want to get fancy with trades. If Jerry DiPoto's listening, he's like, you've got my attention. Trade, I'm in. Where will Juan go? Okay, so John Heyman put this out there last night. He said that the Yankees actually had a Zoom call with Blake Snell on the day that he agreed with the Dodgers, but he said their near total focus is on Juan Soto. Their plan Bs need to wait a bit. Kratz, to me, this actually makes a ton of sense because I think if the Yankees lose out on Soto, but they had already snuck in a Blake Snell signing, people are going to be like, wait, you gave this to this guy and you missed out on Soto? So I think they just need to be all chips in. I really do think they're feeling the heat, trying to get creative to figure out how they can top Steve Cohen when he is going to turn this into an auction for a sick painting, which he owns many of them. So I don't think they can do anything until Soto makes his call. That's how I'm looking at things. You cannot sign some other big player and then go back and be like, well, we can only stop here, but we can give you more crafty opt-outs than the Mets can.
Yeah, but let's go back to the past. It'll tell you what the Yankees are doing with the future here with Juan Soto. Yes, they were going after Blake Snell. Each offseason, there's a big free agent. Did the Yankees miss out on Shohei? I choose to believe, and maybe this is because I'm building this narrative, I don't know that the Yankees ever really had a shot at Shohei. I don't think he wanted to go to New York, whether it was the Mets, whether it was the Yankees, whether it was Toronto going to the East Coast. I think he wanted to stay out there. So I guess I'm kind of putting that aside. They go and get the biggest fish. Cashman gets the deals done. The Steinbrenner family gets the deals done. Carlos Rodon was the biggest pitcher available. Got him. Garrett Cole was the white whale. Cashman's words, not mine. I know Judge signed back with them. They still got the job done. So if you think they're going to let a Blake Snell signing or missing of a signing get in the way of them getting Juan Soto, I don't think so.
Yep, I think it was in for a penny, in for a pound situation. I think they were just going to do, if they could do it, they're just still. I don't think it would have changed. I think that would have maybe been a switch. I mean, maybe this is wishful thinking, but a switch flipping in Hal Steinbrenner's head, saying, you know what, we're going for it. I'm going full Steve Cohen here for a second. We're just going to do it. We're going to go for it because I think that it's so interesting that they had Soto for the last year and he had the year he had. And they got to the World Series and they lost. Like the worst thing that could have happened for this negotiation is them losing in the World Series, getting that close, because it almost makes Juan Soto you have to, like you have no choice but to go get him. And if you don't, it's going to feel like the sky's falling, even though, they're every team has won Juan Soto away from World Series. So it's not like they still can't build a good team or add other pieces that will make them a division winner and a team that goes back. But it'll feel that way, and they're in that situation now. So this waiting game is going to there's going to be a lot of anxiety building over time. And if they do lose him, I think that the disapproval of the fan base will be loud and will be long and will be hard to ignore. So they're kind of stuck behind a rock and a hard place. But if it does happen and they do get it, then the clouds roll out and the sun is back out. So it'll flip the other way real quick. So, but they have to. Hal has to, and frankly, I haven't seen a truly George version of Hal. It'd be cool to see that for maybe just one off season. It'd be cool.
Trevor, let me ask you this because we covered this the other day. I'm curious to get your take. It ties into this storyline when you say Soto's looking to be the man. You think there's anything to read into Judge not talking to him at all this offseason? So I know that's petty stuff sometimes, but we cover it all here, right? And I actually was reading into this a little bit. I'm like, I can't see a scenario where Juan Soto says, "Oh, can't believe Judge sent me this amazing text about how much he loves me and wants me to come back. Like, he should have just left me alone so I could just handle this myself. We already talked during the season." I'm like, this season feels like a million years ago. A text at the minimum, a call at medium rate. And really, for me, if I'm a big man, I'm like, yo, dude, happen to be in town doing some meetings or something in LA near the Boris Court. Let me take you out to a good steak dinner. Let's talk about our legacy as potential future Yankees. What's he going to do? Say no? And if he did say no, I'd be concerned about the relationship anyway. I mean, he's out there just chilling and just working around the meetings right now.
The real question is, Aaron Judge, do you want to be like LeBron James? You need to pull your LeBron James here and he goes and gets his guys. That's what it takes sometimes. Sometimes you have this opportunity that if you're not using it, I think Derek Jeter would do it 100%. He'd go out there immediately and be like, yeah, I did. I wouldn't talk to him. I'm the captain and I want him on my team. What's wrong with that? So it was interesting. I have thought actually a lot about this in his comments. I haven't called him, we don't know if this was it's like, hey, like, I get it. Like, I would prefer to just, be left alone. I've heard he is a fairly go to the field, go home type guy. He's not the guy who's constantly going out and going out to dinner a lot with guys. I was very similar. I was like, well, I want to go back to my hotel room and watch TV for a second, go to bed. Right. So I totally understand that that might've been the way. And then, what we know about Aaron Judge, he's not the most, in your face, strong personality, I'm going to insert myself into the situation guy. It's something he does not seem comfortable or something that he likes doing. I understand that might come with the captain tag, but that's just what it feels like to me. But I think he thinks he's either lying through his teeth, which I don't think he would do. It's weird. Aaron Judge is one of those guys. I'm like, I don't think he would just blatantly say, I have not called him and then actually have called him. But he would dance around it a little bit more. So who knows? Yeah. It's entirely possible. But if you want him, sometimes you just gotta flex that muscle a little bit because you're Aaron Judge, man. You are the LeBron James of the game right now. So just be him. And if that helps you, then get him. Then that's all that matters at the end of the day. So it is interesting and kind of odd that he was very adamant about his not talking to him, which seemed a little out of place with the situation for me.
Yep. Agreed. One more here, and then we'll hit break. We'll talk about a kind of a fun storyline before we get ready for Ken Rosenthal joining us to finish off the show. So Mark Feinsand included some other teams. I mean, he said the Yankees and the Red Sox, we covered them. He said the Orioles were also in on Blake Snell before he signed with the Dodgers, and he said expect the Orioles, Yankees, and Red Sox to remain active in the pitching market with names like Corbin Burnes, Max Fried, and Jack Flaherty among the top arms available. Thoughts on Baltimore? Obviously, that would have been a nice fit for them, but hey, we shouldn't rule out Baltimore for Max Fried either. That's somebody they could play for to put a little pressure on Boston. I mean, if the Red Sox aren't playing ball at the top tier, like the Mets, Dodgers, Yankees, etc., right? If they're operating more in the middle tier these days, then the Orioles have the edge because the Orioles have a nothing payroll and they had a pretty successful, lucrative year as a franchise. Plus, they have a new ownership group and they're looking to make a splash. And the new ownership group's looking like, damn, we have this much money to spend. I mean, this is not a baby market. So I think the Orioles could do some damage if they want to. And if Fried's the guy that they really love, they could make some noise there as well. They could play on Burnes, like these other names that are mentioned too, Flaherty, etc. But thoughts on Baltimore and their pursuit of Blake Snell? Because Kratz, I'm gonna give them a little more leeway. They haven't been a team where we say the Orioles were in on this person, they were in on that person, because their previous ownership group wasn't really in on anyone besides their minimum salary players, which they did a great job of growing for the past few years because he wanted to get them together, have really tight books to sell the team.
I think two things have changed. I mean, besides the ownership stuff that you've already hit on. The fact that they didn't finish the season the way that they felt like they should have with the roster that they had, I think that's going to change this market. But they also had the opportunity to have an ace. They had Corbin Burnes all year. Great trade, good job. DL Hall, Joey Ortiz for him. I think they see what it is like and they see how it can help their team, especially since they're gaining a closer back. Batista's going to be back, and so they don't even need to make a move for that. That's already an upgrade. But it's kind of like when you have a good defender at a position, you're like, whew, kind of missed that. I think we need to go after it. They had an ace this year. Corbin Burnes was there every 5 days. Yes, he didn't punch out as many guys as maybe he would have or he did the other years, but this dude was consistent and he absolutely brought it. And I think that's what will change them being in or out of this market is their relationship of how it was with Burnes. Like, we loved having an ace. We need to go get another one.
Hey, everybody. Be sure to like and subscribe for more content.
We're back here every weekday, all year long, so do not miss an episode.
The videos are coming in all day. Here's another video you might enjoy.
Baseball the way it should be covered.